Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Bible Story Corner with me, the Bible Story Lady. I cannot wait to get into these Bible stories. It's been very interesting. We've been learning all about all the events that have taken place within the last 24 hours of Jesus' life here on earth. A lot has happened in the upper room during the Last Supper. Jesus just predicted his death and told his disciples, but he also gave them some encouraging words afterwards, right? So now, after the meal, Jesus asked his disciples to go with him to pray. So they walked just a little short distance together to a garden called Gethsemane. Let's see what takes place in that garden. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Watch and pray, so that you do not fall into temptation." With that, Jesus left the disciples to pray a little further away. Jesus knelt and prayed to God. He said, "Please take this cup of suffering from me." What did that mean? Well, Jesus knew what was about to happen to him. He knew that he was about to be arrested, beaten, and nailed to a cross. When he said, "Please take this cup of suffering from me," he was asking God to please not make him have to go through the pain of being crucified. Jesus knew how painful it was going to be, so he was asking God if there was any other way. After a time of prayer, Jesus went back to check on the disciples. Remember, he had left them there to pray. But when Jesus went back to where they were, he found them all fast asleep. He had asked them to pray, but they were just too tired. They had to make him feel completely alone. Even in his darkest hour, the disciples could not stay awake enough to pray for him. Jesus went back to his prayer spot. Now remember, he just prayed and asked God if there was any possible way that he could save the world from their sins without having to suffer and die. But then Jesus prayed something so powerful. He said, "I want your will to be done, not mine." And that just means it doesn't matter what I want. God, I want what you want. And that is such an amazing attitude, isn't it? Wow, Jesus knew that something was about to happen, right? And you're actually going to learn all about the different experiences that Jesus had in the Garden of Gethsemane. And you're also going to learn that during the toughest moments of your life, the only thing to do is pray.
All right, agents in training, let's talk about a very important power verse today. It says, "Keep watch and pray, so that you will not give into temptation." Mark 14:38. That was such a great power verse.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it amazing?
Hey everybody, it's TikTok. I wonder who she's on the phone with.
Graham Cracker, you are so silly.
Hey, TikTok, I hate to interrupt you, but who's Graham Cracker?
Oh, hey, well, I'm actually talking to Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell, as in the inventor of the telephone?
Yeah, Graham Cracker is his nickname, and he loves it, don't you, Graham Cracker?
Hold up, Alexander Graham Bell died almost 100 years ago. That can't be him.
Silly, I'm a time traveler, remember? I just went back in time and gave him a cell phone, just to speed things up a little bit. You're welcome.
How many times do we have to tell you? Time traveling isn't real.
That's what Graham Cracker said before I showed him how to play Among Us. He's got a pretty decent score. And I also hooked him up with a Snapchat account. Hey, look, I'm just going to talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Who are you talking to now?
Oh, Thomas Jefferson. I'm sending him some suggestions for the Declaration of Independence.
Enough with the phone nonsense.
Well, excuse me. Just talking to one of the founding fathers of our country. No big deal. So what are we talking about today? Praying?
How do you know that?
I'm a time traveler, of course. Today's lesson is all about how we should pray to God for strength whenever we face difficulty. And I already know this because I've already been here.
I'm having a difficult time with your silliness.
Well, then you should talk to God about it and tell him the whole truth. Be honest to him about how you feel.
God, I'm having a rough day. I'm trying to teach these kids how to pray to you, but I keep getting interrupted by a crazy person who claims to be a time traveler.
Wait. There's someone else in here who falsely claims to be a time traveler?
Help.
Ah, perfect. That's the second thing you should ask for. I mean, whenever you're facing something difficult, then you need to ask God for help. I mean, he's all powerful and he loves you a whole bunch. Plus, he is definitely the best source of help that you can ask for.
You're right, TikTok. I'm sorry for getting frustrated. You're actually helping us a lot by being here. It's just
God's will for me to be here? Oh yeah, right on time. And you know, that's the third thing we need to remember when we're praying through the difficulty. That we need to pray that God's will be done. Because you know, in the end, he knows best.
As much as I hate it when you interrupt me, you're absolutely right.
I know. Isn't it great? Whoa, getting a text. It's Napoleon Bonaparte. Silly man. He knows I don't speak French.
TikTok, just stop. You know, and I know, and the agents know that time travel just isn't real. And if it were real, where is your time machine?
I couldn't possibly tell you that, but I can give you a clue. It involves a Chinese restaurant and your grandmother's dentures.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, who says it has to be? All right, agents. TikTok here. I'm out of time. I gotta go. Oh, let me see. No, I don't speak French.
Well, as always, that was interesting. But let's learn more about time to pray. Over to you, Agent Fanta.
Hello, agents in training. I am Special Agent Fanta, and this is Special Agent LaCroix, and you're going to learn more about time to pray.
In the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon teaches us there is a time for everything under the sun. There is a time to cry and a time to laugh. There is a time to rest and a time to work. There is a time to mourn and a time to dance. It's important that your response matches up with what it is time for. When you have a big test tomorrow, it's not time to play, it's time to study, right? When you're at a funeral, it's not time to dance, right? It's time to mourn. Well, when you face the most difficult moment of your life, what is it time to do? Panic? Freak out? Blame others? Throw a fit? What is it time to do when you face the most difficult moment of your life? Jesus answered that question for us in today's Bible story. Do you remember what he did? That's right. Jesus knew when he faced the most difficult moment of his life, it was time to pray. Jesus took the disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. Did you notice what was the first thing Jesus said? He said, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death." In other words, I'm so sad right now, I feel like I could just die. What was Jesus doing when he said this? He was doing the same thing that we should do when we come to God in prayer. Be honest about how you feel.
Jesus was really hurting, wasn't he? He was being honest and saying exactly how he was feeling. That's exactly what you need to do as well. When you are facing a difficult moment in life, it can be very hard on you. You get worried, you get scared. You don't need to put on a fake happy face and pretend like everything is just wonderful. You can be honest about how you are feeling. Tell your parents, your family, your friends, and your pastors how you are feeling. Be honest about how you feel. But not only that, ask God for help.
Jesus prayed to God and said, "Father, everything is possible for you. Please take this cup of suffering from me." He knew it was going to be a difficult few hours as he was about to be arrested and put to death. He prayed to God for help. Please take this cup of suffering from me. When you face the most difficult moments in life, a sick family member, a bully at school, a friend who turns their back on you, ask God for help. You can't handle life's huge problems on your own. Don't try. Instead, do as Jesus did. Ask God for help. Not only did Jesus ask God for help, but he added a very important part to his prayer. Do you remember what he said? Jesus said, "Yet I want your will, not mine." When you face life's toughest problems, pray for God's will to be done.
Jesus didn't want to have to suffer, but he knew that this was the only way that you and I could be forgiven of our sins. So he prayed for God's strength to face the test, and he prayed for God's will to be done. That is how we need to pray as well. We don't like to suffer and go through tough situations, but we need to pray for God's will to be done, not ours. Sometimes it takes difficult situations in life to build our character and our trust in God. And although we don't like difficulties, it is often in those difficulties that our faith grows the most. Without difficult moments in life, we would never have our faith tested. And that's why we have to pray for God's will to be done, not our own. One thing is for sure though, God's will is that we not just survive, but thrive. He wants us to make it through life's toughest test and problems with his help. So when you face difficult moments, it's not time to panic. It's time to pray.